It's Only Sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.
Philasande Sixaba from SuperSport 118. Congratulations to you. Your team is absolutely magnificent. To win those two test matches like you did, to beat us 4 times in a row, you're in a purple patch at the moment, and we can only sit back and wish it was us.
Thanks, Dev. I think it's testament to the work that's been put in for quite a number of years now by this coaching staff and the coaching staff previous to this. I think they've built a really good depth in South African rugby now that is able to reap the rewards of the hard work that's been done by the coaches. I think SA Rugby is also bought into the coaches' philosophy and style and making sure that they provide the resources for the coaches to be able to achieve this success. And I think that's ultimately been the silver lining in what has transpired, particularly the past 2 weekends where, it's been a great result against the All Blacks.
Why are you so good? Why do you close out matches like that where we unravel at the end, but you guys seem to get calm and composed?
I think it comes with experience now. I think this crop of players have the experience and the know-how to close off games. If you look at the benches that both Rassie Erasmus and his coaching staff have picked in the past 2 weekends, sort of indicates to the experience in the squad now. Having a guy like Eben Etzebeth coming on last weekend from the bench. And having that sort of impact and be able to close off games. Henry Pollard also coming on last weekend to come on and close out games. That talks to the experience that this coaching staff have been able to build in this Springbok group. And I think it's held us in great stead now. We're able to close off games where a lack of experience would have left us a little bit vulnerable in those last 20 minutes. But now it's much better in terms of how they manage games, especially when they're in front, and they can also chase games when they're behind.
It's a great point you make, and it's important, I think, for all of us in New Zealand to actually accept as well that when we were at our absolute pomp, which was 2011 through to 2016, we felt like we were unbeatable, but we actually won a lot of test matches there. They were very close. It's just that we won them all. Is that part of what we kind of cliche call a winning habit?
Absolutely, and you got to create that winning habit. You got to try and make sure that you aim to win every game, and that's comes with experience. You make mention of the fact that New Zealand was so good between 2011 and 2016. If you look at the names that were in those sides, I think Jerome Kaino was still playing those days, and you look at the experience that they had in their ranks those days. They felt like they could chase games at whatever point they were behind at, and I think that is the difference now with these two sides now, is that South Africa have that belief, have that experience to be able to close out games and have the belief to close them out at a point where they probably would have lost in years gone by. So it boils down to building that experience and having that self-belief that you can close out games from whatever position you're in.
Philasande Sixaba is with us from SuperSport, South Africa. Can you get better? How do you get better?
There's always room for improvement, isn't it?
Always, I think yes.
There's so much that we still learn. I think these next 2 test matches against Argentina are going to be crucial in terms of sort of testing the underbelly. Rassie spoke about split squads for those 2 test matches, one that will go to Argentina and one that will stay behind and prepare for Argentina when they come to Mbombela here in South Africa for that final round. So it's about making sure that you continue giving guys opportunities to get better. And then ultimately build a squad and a pool of players that can be able to be interchangeable whenever you need them in pressure situations, and I think that's how you can improve. And I think this squad and these players and this coaching staff realize the opportunity that they have in terms of making sure that they continue to improve going into the future.
Devlin.
You better believe it!
The platform.
Richard Turner, for an All Black perspective, what do you got? 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, Pod. Hawke's Bay lost the Shield. North Harbour got burgled by Auckland, and then the All Blacks lost. What a weekend for you, pal.
It hasn't been good. I've got to talk to you. I've had to get off the rocking chair that I've been sitting in the corner, just rocking back and forth in the dark. Just trying to find some light, Marty. Just trying to find some light at the moment.
Well, look, I don't want to be too harsh or down on the All Blacks because, but at the same time, I don't want to ever accept this team losing, Pod, and I don't want anyone to get into a mindset that it's okay to lose 3 Test matches in a year, because it's not. That's unacceptable. But what we've got to accept, though, is for all of the great players we've got, and we saw 7 or 8 guys on Sunday morning who were brilliant, we've just got a fair few who aren't at that level. And I just think our playing stocks at the moment, I don't know how we improve them, but is that what the coach is meant to do? Is the coach meant to turn guys who aren't great international players into good international players?
I think there's a bit of that, Marty. But there's also the ability to identify players that when you put them in a better environment, they become better players. And that might sound, I don't know, patently obvious, but there are players that they get into an environment and they thrive, and I think that's the role. I 100% agree with you. That we certainly, when we compare ourselves to, and this is a hard thing to say, the best, who are South Africa right now. Once upon a time it was us. Right now it's not. So when we compare ourselves to the best in South Africa, and you look at their depth, we've got a lot of work to do in that area in terms of building depth of talent. So we can just be better. And again, we saw it 2 weeks in a row. So we can finish games off, in the last 20 minutes when we get ourselves in a position to win them.
The real worrying trend for me, and you look for patterns, mate, don't we? And that's, as opposed to one-off performances or strange events that do happen in games, is that for 5 tests of this year so far, we haven't scored a point in the last 20 minutes. And again, that's got to come back. You've got to be looking at the coaches and saying, I don't know what you're imprinting on these guys. I don't know what influence you're having from upstairs on these guys in the last 20 minutes. Do they need coaches? Should this be down to the players to sort that out?
Yeah, I think so. None of us are privy to the inner sanctum and the conversations that they have at that level. But certainly, from the outside looking in, for me, it's the coaches are all about the preparation, so getting them to a point where when they take the field, they're ready to go, and they understand. They understand what they're trying to achieve, and they go out there and they implement it. When they're out on the field, it's the leader's responsibility. And we've got a bloke with a C beside his name in Scott Barrett. But you always, all the rhetoric that comes out of the All Black environment, they talk about their senior leadership group. So it's easy to poke the finger at Scott Barrett individually, but the question mark for me is around senior leadership. So we've got a former All Black captain and team Kane out there in that environment. We've got Adi Savia, who's captain the All Blacks. So we're not lacking experience. We're not lacking leadership. It's just my question is what are the conversations they're having in that when they're out in the heat of the battle and trying to finish things off. And you're 100% right that. The fact that we have failed to score a point in the last 20 minutes of a game for, what did you say, four or five?
Tests, 5 test matches.
That's not only concerning, it's embarrassing.
It's Only Sport with Martin Devlin on the platform. Brought to you by One New Zealand. Let's get connected.